This is going to be kind of a hands-on interaction between about marketing. Okay, so I guess you guys are all interested in marketing since you're here. Who knew it was marketing tonight? Or you just came anyways because you like being here on Wednesdays. All right, cool. So before we jump into that, just a quick background about me. I have been flipping and wholesaling since 2017. Somewhere around 150 deals between flips, wholesales, mobile homes, rentals, rehabs, all kinds of stuff. I have been I've been a housing provider since 2020. I bought my first rental to hang on to the week after they shut down Disneyland before COVID, and I was terrified to close on that. But Andy asked me what the interest rate was. And I was afraid to tell him for some reason. He's like, "Is there a 2 in front of it?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Buy the damn house." So I bought it. And house hacked my way into the rest of them. Okay, so right now I'm sitting at 16 doors. I have another 2 in the works, 3 in the works actually. And then I purchased IRIC in 2021, and then we decided to do this in 2022 really, but we renamed it all to the Fire Center at the beginning of last year. So. And then obviously I like to, when I'm not doing real estate, I like to travel. I used to bowl quite a bit, but life changes have made that a little difficult lately. But we travel, we have an RV that we've taken on trips, and then obviously some of you saw Evelyn walking around, not yet. Us walking around with Evelyn that we had my first child in October of last year. So she's 3 months old. And I'm adjusting, I think, well enough to dad life. I got the vest and everything, so. And then my current projects-wise, we got one last mobile home of the 7 that we did down in Paris. Me, Farah, and where's Manny? Manny's not here. And then Angela, my mom's been our agent on it, so technically we have 2 left. One's hopefully closing. Hopefully closing soon, as in like tomorrow would be great. What's that? Yes, it's one of those. It's one of those where you're like, you really want to write them a notice to perform, but you also like don't want to lose them as buyers. So it's like, part of the fun part of flipping. So, but we did get them down from like $4,000, $5,000 in repairs to like $1,200 or something like that. So. That's why we don't want to lose them. I am also doing one mobile home in San Bernardino that's in the middle of being rehabbed at the moment. And then one single-family house also in Lake Arrowhead. That is that middle left one, the A-frame there, which after 6 months to get permits to repair 50 square feet of fire damage out of a 2,200 square foot house. You need permits for that because let me show you guys something on an A-frame that I've learned. Something on an A-frame that I learned, especially this particular one. When they have these slats, which is pretty much like a lot of the way these A-frames are built, these are actually structural right here. That isn't just like peel and stick flooring or anything like that on the ceiling. It's basically like a 2x4 thick tongue and groove piece of framing, essentially. That's all part of it. So when that little 50 square feet of wall burned around the chimney, it compromised the whole structure. So, and then it's just one thing after another with the county, and then So, anyways, 6 months later, we got permits approved. So that all started back up this week. So, and then just in time for a snowstorm this weekend. It's been beautiful for 6 months, and we were gonna start on the roof this week. We were gonna, they started tearing up a big hole in the side of the house, just in time for 3-4 inches of snow that we're supposed to get this weekend. So we postponed the roof. We already put the hole in the house. So, but it's a good thing the inside of it's not all painted and ready to go yet, right? Except it is. But hey, we do what we got to do. They're going to tarp it all off, and hopefully we'll be okay. So, and then next week, today, I didn't hear any news that it went poorly, so I'm hoping we did our MEPS inspection to get power turned back on, because the guys have been working this whole time off of generators and batteries to paint and do all that stuff. So we've been getting it done, but hopefully, that was, again, 6-month project. So for you flippers, I know I'm going a little off topic here, but expect that it's always going to take longer. It's going to take more money than you thought, and you're going to make less. Okay? So when you run your numbers, run them very conservatively, and don't listen to the wholesaler or agent that is trying to sell you on, hey, it's only 30 grand and it will take you a couple months, and give you comps that are, telling you it's $100,000 more than what it's actually going to go for. Okay? But your life is your fault. My life is my fault. If you listen to those people and still buy the house, you're going to learn the hard way. But I'm still learning that lesson, even though I've been doing this over 100 times. So, but again, if you're conservative on your numbers. Somebody was asking me the other day, actually, it was you guys, right? We were talking about profits and flips and whatnot. You make your money on the buy, okay, with flipping. Things are always going to go wrong. So if you buy it at a good price, really, no matter what goes wrong, as long as it doesn't burn down in the middle of your project, you should be okay. It's just, again, it's going to take longer, and you're going to make less, but it's okay. As long as you don't lose money, call it a win, okay? Or just lose very little. All right. Also, we decided to move about 2 weeks before Christmas that we hosted. So that's our one of 2 moving trucks up there. What's funny about that is about 2 years ago, I lived in a 500 square foot studio, and I could fit a 2-seater love seat in probably the back of a minivan with all my stuff. And now we moved 2 years later, and I have 2 moving trucks, 30-foot moving trucks. How does that happen, honey? Yeah, having an Airbnb, your girlfriend moves in with all of her stuff, and then your mom shuts down her cabin, so you have some furniture from there, and then you buy a house with a pool table. And no, I didn't take the pool table. I should have. That'd be good now. But you buy a surround sound system right before you're about to move. It all adds up. So, wonder where the pack rat houses come from? I don't know. I have no idea. And what's funny is I bought this mobile home, and I'm considering taking these 2 bicycles right here because they're kind of nice. So, but I wonder where all this stuff keeps coming from. I have no idea. So, that's the mobile home. And then like I said, we're going tomorrow. This single-family house in Crestline that I just picked up, and then I have 4 vacancies at the moment, which is a lot. It's crazy how things can swing, because I went from being fully occupied to 4 vacancies within 3 weeks, and they just happen to be my biggest rental, with a $3,000 underlying mortgage and a $4,000 underlying mortgage. So. It's crazy how that swings very quickly. So have reserves, okay? They'll help.
Are any of those master leasable?
Master leasable? Yeah, actually both of them are. So if you want to master lease a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house in Running Springs, that's 2,200 square feet, come talk to me. Or a former Airbnb, 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Crestline that has way more money into it than it should.
Your former Airbnb?
My former Airbnb. Yep. Yep. What?
Where did all that furniture go? Is it all sold?
Did you miss the 2 moving trucks?
No, I know, but you could.
No, I don't have all of it. And we've slowly basically traded out our stuff for the stuff because it was all the stuff in my rentals are nicer than my actual house. So, so we traded out all the silverware, all the everything. So, if you wanna master lease a house in Running Springs Running Springs or Crestline and try your luck out on an Airbnb, come talk to me. Or sober living. The 4-bedroom has massive bedrooms. I mean, the master, you could fit 6 bunk beds in there. It's crazy. So, and then, yes.
Okay, right now, I'm a real estate agent. My name's Ann Christine. I have a property that's going to be coming up in Preston.
Is this a question?
No.
Or an ad?
What I'm asking is that when I checked it, it's a 500 square foot house with 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. And so I asked her, how do you put, unless you put 1 shoe in each room, how are you going to do that? And she says that they built up. So when they build up, I guess, a while back because it's an inheritance.
Okay.
So with a situation like that, do they, is it that they don't?
So it's bigger than it says on title, is that what you're saying?
It's bigger than it says on title. So in a situation like that, when you sell it, I just wanted to know if maybe they got permits way back in the day, or.
So typically, if it's not on title, so if people pull permits and do permits correctly, it'll show up on record, okay? So because they get them filed off, and then the tax guys come and reassess your property and reassign it to be bigger, because they want more money. So now your house is worth more, they reassess it. If it's not on title, chances are it's probably not permitted.
Okay, so, but they don't really, is it that Crestline, those areas don't really have a lot of, anyone check?
That happens all over the place, not necessarily just Crestline.
Okay, I just.
It happens. I mean, I see it a lot in Crestline, but I see it a lot everywhere where people have added on something or closed in a patio, or that happens a lot. What is interesting about that, when you go to resell those, the bank doesn't really care. I've never had a flip where there was unpermitted space that came back and the bank was like, oh no, it's not permitted. The appraiser comes out and he sees the space, and that's what he appraises the house at.
Okay.
It can happen, but what's up, Andy?
Is loft space added to square footage?
Loft space?
Yeah.
So the official way that loft space works is it's the walkable area that you can stand up. So I actually, this house I just bought has a perfect example of this, but I don't have a picture on it. So if your loft goes up like this and it's like a barn, and it goes like this, and you can only stand up in the middle, that in the middle is only this wide. That length times what you can stand in is what the square footage is that they give you. They won't give you square footage all the way to the wall. So if you have really low ceilings and you can't stand up, or if the whole loft you can't even stand up, it's just more like a crawl space, they won't count that as square footage.
That's what I thought it maybe, since she said they built up and it's a cabin up there, that might just be loft.
Is it a full story?
Yeah.
What you do?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just keep that in mind. I mean, it's a good negotiation standpoint or tactic, like to look at it, because really you are taking a risk, especially if you're going to hold on to that property. So if you're going to flip it and somebody else is going to buy it, and the appraiser is going to do it, like the bank appraisal, they're not really going to care all that much. You can also have the property reassessed yourself. And generally, if like that square footage or an extra bedroom, whatever, you can get that added to the count before you sell it, and then it's not a problem. But I wouldn't do that if you're hanging on to it as a rental. Just my opinion. But any other questions there? Okay. And then when I'm not busy doing all that, I try and run this place. All right. So, all right. Let's talk about marketing. Anybody know the history of marketing, like where it actually comes from, the term? Anybody?
Like the Latin version.
Not that quite that far. Let's go back to like the 1600s. I'll give you a hint. It's in the name. The market. So when the markets were big, big outdoor markets in the 1600s, this term was kind of coined as people basically trying to hawk stuff to you in the market. And that's where they came up with the term marketing. So I thought that was interesting. So a little bit about like my background in marketing, and why I wanted to talk about this, because who's here in June when I kind of touched on branding and stuff like that? Okay. So this isn't about branding or like we buy houses kind of stuff tonight. I wanted to talk more about just like getting to sellers, okay? And like the copy and actual like mindset that goes into that, not just like in your brand, okay? And so like my background in marketing, I've never been like in like an official marketing role, but I have been doing stuff since I was probably in, you guys are gonna laugh, I've been doing this stuff since like high school, when I used to be like run, anyone play video games here? Yeah? You guys ever been in like a team or a clan or anything like that? Any super nerds? No? I'm the only one? Darren, I knew he is. So I used to do it like when I was in high school. I would design websites and stuff for the teams that I was a part of, and I just kept recycling stuff. And then I owned a motorcycle club in college that I did the T-shirts for and the hats and whatnot. And then when I worked for James Hardy back in like 2000, like the early 2000s, like 2011, I worked for the marketing department, but I was a sales rep inside the stores. So I had access to like kind of like the marketing department people. I didn't really like any of the stuff that was in the stores that they were giving everybody else, so I just designed my own marketing in the store to help me sell more product. In Home Depot, Home Depot, Lowe's, I would take the logos and kind of like make my own signs and put them up. And then I would also, at one point I had my motorcycle that I used to ride on the track. I had that all decked out and company colors with the logo on it, so I've never been a marketer, like a professional marketer, but I've done all that stuff, and then designed postcards and everything that goes out, and then pretty much like all the stuff you guys see in here, I did for the most part myself. I have had a little bit of help, like some of those logos, the Rat Race Escape Club logo, that's ChatGPT. Same with Fire Chat. But IRIC's new logo, Calria, SoCal Exchangers, and the Fire Center's logo, it was all just stuff that I came up with. So, and then technical wise, I can kind of do some of it. I get by. Some of it I do in Paint, and I go the hard way on all this. I'm not like a Photoshop master or anything. I don't even know how to use Photoshop. It's too complicated. I use Paint and Canva. And then when it gets difficult, like when it needs to be like dialed in, I just give it to somebody on Fiverr and pay them like $10 and they do it. So that's my background. And when we came up with a lot of this marketing for the club, me and somebody else sat down and did a lot of this too. So modern marketing is defined as, I don't know if this is quite a definition, but I like the quote, good marketing makes the company look smart. Great marketing makes the customer feel smart. So in my mind, what does that mean to anybody? Anybody want to take a stab at it? I want them to feel smart. That is a smart observation. You're so smart. So you want your customer to feel good. All right, remember, like marketing, it's all in the feeling. Okay, it's all in the feeling. It's how you make people feel. There's a quote from, I think it's Maya Angelou. People will forget what you said. People forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. Okay, so it's all about the feeling. In marketing, you gotta really get in there and make people feel. Okay, and if they feel smart, like they made the decision, when you even led them to it, then you're gold. Okay, so this wasn't supposed to pop up. So common struggles. It does this to me every time. Bless you. Sorry. Common struggles. So who has tried to do their own marketing? Tried it once? Anybody, any other one-timers out there? For Facebook marketing? Facebook ads? Okay. It's tough, right? Like, I was going to let you guys say this. So give me some ideas about some struggles you got. I'll give you a hint.
What works?
Yes, sir, in the back.
Finding the correct things to speak about to attract.
Finding the correct things to speak about. There's so much you can say, and there's so much you like, not that you can't say, but it's like you got a lot to say, and it's trying to figure out like what do you dial that down into to actually get somebody's attention, right? Yes, sir.
Not knowing how to get it into the right hand.
Not knowing how to get it in the right hands.
Yeah.
Okay?
Not being organized with responses you get.
Not being organized with the responses you get. So
Like
So you got-
getting responses, but you don't exactly know what to do with them.
Yeah.
Or you don't know where to put them.
So it sounds like you have a good message, but then on the back end, the management side of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now what?
Now what? Okay. Any shiny objects out there? All of who said that? Josh, give me an example. Just an example of like a shiny object that,
Shiny objects in general?
yeah, like like pennies and. No, I'm just kidding. So like there's a,
To invest in. That's a shiny.
say that one more time.
What avenue of real estate to invest?
What avenue of real estate to invest in?
That's a shiny object.
You're right.
So, also.
You're right. I got a big shiny object right now in Arrowhead. I agree with you. Okay, shiny objects in marketing though, I'm more talking about like
Direct mailers.
yeah, like there's there's the direct mail, door hangers. What I see as shiny objects is that people gravitate to a lot is like Google ads. Okay, like pay-per-click Google ads, because that is such a niche market that people are like come in and like, I want to just run Google ads. I'm like, have you tried to run Google ads? Like, so anyways, but being basically like, we all do this with real estate investing, with marketing and whatnot, is like not like picking a couple things to focus on and getting drawn away to, whether it's Google ads, messaging bots, whatever, it's like instead of, and I'm guilty of this, Evan and I for years, we, because I was always in charge of marketing and we would do something, we'd jump on this and then, and it would work and we'd get some deals out of it. And instead of just keep doing that, jump on to something else and try that. And then we get some deals out of it and jump on it. So ideally, it was like all of this was working in the background, which some of it was. But, you got to be careful because if you only have a certain amount of dollars to spend on marketing, you could very easily get distracted where you could have just stayed in your lane on what was actually working for you. Okay? All right. And again, this wasn't supposed to pop up, but give me some more struggles. Yes.
Knowing how to get your vision onto paper.
Not knowing. It's right there. You can't read. All right. What else?
Struggle with
Go ahead, John.
on the mountain particularly,
Uh-huh.
being able to verbalize what I do and what my goal is to buy your house, without sounding like
Investor?
some big company that just
Yeah.
wants to buy houses, and still be able to sound like a local without just saying, oh, and I'm a local. Because some people they just don't buy it. They're like, oh, you're another blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you're one of those.
Or maybe they don't want somebody that Crestline's a small town. I realized this recently. Well, not that it's small town, but like I was like, I'm gonna put I'm local on everything. And I'm like, if I was in trouble, would I want somebody local in this small town that knew everyone else?
Yeah.
Maybe not. So, and then something that like for new people especially too, and is like paying other people to do this stuff is who runs like Instagram reels? Anybody? Like runs them as like has them or has somebody doing them for them or looked into people doing it for you. One, how much is that? Like if you wanted like 2-3 reels a week and you just hand somebody the content and they were gonna cut all that up and do it for you, what would they charge?
Review, and it's on the low end, you could probably go anywhere between 80 for just a cookie cutter.
Yeah.
Post your logo and stuff on there. On the high end, you're about $500 a month.
Yeah.
Oh, who is your person?
You got a deal. Yeah. What's his number?
That's cheap. What's it, like 1,500? More like
Yeah. So to give you guys an example, who follows us on Instagram? The Club, Fire Center, IRIC, all the other ones, me. Okay. You're all gonna raise your hands and make this happen. Okay. Because I'm going to tell you what that costs every month. Okay? So we record these events, and we cut them up, and this is for 4 recordings of IRIC and 2 podcasts to get 5 reels out of each one of those recordings, so that's 30 reels posted basically every other day, and those is $1,200 a month. Okay? And that's a deal. I'm actually getting that cheap. If I went on Fiverr, it'd be 3 times that much. Okay, that's from a friend of a friend of a friend doing it. And I could actually hire my VA to do it cheaper, but it wouldn't be as good. These guys are actually pretty decent at it. So, okay, so paying others to get it. And if you pay somebody to do your Facebook ads or your pay-per-click stuff, it will run you ragged quickly. Okay, so that's always been my struggle, is finding people that understand and do a good job and are actually fair about it. You know, what I think is actually fair to charge. So, anyways, all right. So, I swear to God, these aren't supposed to pop up. What's that? Hey, you're supposed to be my editor. What happened? I didn't complete it in time to give to you. All right. So the reason this all matters is you need to understand your customers, okay? And what triggers them. So obviously fear, urgency, relatability, all that comes into play, okay? So what I want to do here is kind of a group exercise so I've been working on some marketing for the club, okay, in the fire center, and how to get better like outreach to new members, okay, which hopefully you guys all see benefits you, and that the more people that come through these doors, the more deals, the more people, the more contacts, the more, hopefully money and lenders and all that kind of stuff. So I want to do an exercise on basically like the mindset that you guys were in before you got to these doors. Okay, what got you here? And then we're going to kind of turn that around on sellers. So something you guys can do with me? Yeah? All right. And we're going to throw it into ChatGPT and see what that looks like. Okay? So, oops, nope, don't want to do that. Nope, don't want to do that either. All right. So, who here wants to be financially independent? Hopefully everybody. I see a couple hands down that you don't want to. No, you're good?
So you don't want it anymore? I'll take it. Okay. Because everybody has it. Okay.
All right. So, who wants to go first? I need some volunteers. Josh, let me give you a mic.
That was part of the deal.
You can come on stage. You want to come on stage and say? All right, Josh. We're going to kind of go on the broad, and then we're going to dial down a little bit, okay?
Okay.
Does that work? All right.
Ready.
So, why do you want to be financially independent?
To be able to do what I want to do when I want to do it and go where I want to go when I want to go, and not have to worry about how that's going to be paid for. And then the other big one for me is just to have infinite time with my family and my kids, because I didn't have that growing up with my parents.
Okay. Give me 1 second here.
You can reword that however that helps.
Infinite time with family.
Yeah.
Okay. Why? Why?
Well, the time with the family.
Why? Yeah, I'm just gonna ask you why.
Well, the
That
time with the
makes
family.
sense.
Okay, so the time with the family thing is like I said, because I didn't have a lot of that growing up. Like, both my parents were very busy, doing other things, working, supporting, raising me, but always working, always working. And then the money piece of it is, or the financial independence piece of why is because I feel like when I'm not in a good financial place, I'm constantly worrying about that. Not that having money always fixes that, but I feel like in general, if I look back over the years from college to after college to getting a job to working, I always felt like there was this level of worry in a sense of how am I going to get to that